How often have you looked at someone and decided you knew exactly who they were, what they were capable of, what they knew? We've all done it. And sometimes we're spectacularly wrong. For much of the 20th century, the world believed it knew Hedy Lamarr, a glamorous Hollywood actress, often called the most beautiful woman in the world. To millions of people, that was the entire story. It wasn't. Long before Hollywood, Hedy Lamarr was born Hedwig Keisler in Vienna, Austria. She was intensely curious. She wanted to understand how things worked. Her father encouraged her. He taught her to ask questions, to observe. It was a lesson she never forgot. They would take long walks, and he would explain to her how machines like printing presses and streetcars worked. As a young woman, she married Fritz Mandel. He was one of Europe's wealthiest arms manufacturers. Their home welcomed military officers, engineers, political leaders from across Europe. And night after night, the conversations would turn to the future of war, weapons, communications. Hedy, of course, wasn't expected to participate, but she listened, and she remembered. Her marriage was becoming increasingly controlling and difficult. At the same time, Europe was becoming a dangerous place, especially for someone like her with Jewish ancestry. Dictators were rising. War was approaching. The future was closing in. So Hedy made a decision. She escaped her marriage. She left Austria behind. And she went first to London and then traveled to America on the ocean liner Normandy. Among the other passengers traveling to America was Louis B. Mayer, the powerful head of MGM Studios. He already knew who she was. Hollywood was always searching for new stars. And Mayer recognized something extraordinary. Not just beauty, presence, intelligence, a face audiences would never forget. He persuaded her to come to Hollywood, to MGM. And before the voyage was over, he suggested something else, a new name. Hedwig Keisler would become Hedy Lamarr. Hollywood embraced her almost immediately. The camera loved her. Studios promoted her elegance, her mystery, glamour. Before long, she had become one of MGM's brightest stars, a beautiful actress, a famous celebrity, a Hollywood star. Then the world changed. War spread across Europe. Eventually, America entered the conflict, and like many of Hollywood's biggest stars, Hedy wanted to support the country that had given her a second chance. She appeared at patriotic events, she sold war bonds, she encouraged Americans to support the troops and invest in victory. It was important work. For most people, it would have been enough, but not for Hedy. She believed she could do more. She had learned that one of the problems facing the military was that German U-boats were able to jam the signal of radio-controlled torpedoes, causing the torpedoes to veer off course or self-destruct. She read. She asked questions. She searched for ideas. The more she learned, the more convinced she became that a fresh perspective might succeed where conventional thinking had stalled. It was then that she found the perfect collaborator, a composer, an inventor, a man who also believed that extraordinary ideas often came from unexpected places. His name was George Antheil. Hedy shared the military problem that had been occupying her thoughts: how to make radio-controlled torpedoes more reliable and more secure. Hedy had some ideas that she wanted to pursue, and George brought a different kind of expertise to the process. Ideas were discussed, questioned, discarded, improved. Neither were trying to prove how clever they were. They were working on a solution to the problem. Then they found an unexpected connection. Player pianos relied on perforated paper rolls to keep every note perfectly synchronized. Every change, every pause, every movement occurred in precisely the right sequence. So what if a radio transmitter and a radio receiver could work the same way? Instead of remaining on a single frequency, both could move together, following the same coordinated pattern, changing frequencies again and again, remaining synchronized throughout the transmission. It was an elegant idea, simple in concept, revolutionary in application. Together, Hedy and George transformed that idea into a patentable invention. But having an idea was only the beginning. Rather than relying on their celebrity or asking for special treatment, they decided to follow the same path expected of any civilian inventor. They documented their work. They filed a patent and submitted the invention to the National Inventors Council, an organization created to evaluate new ideas that might help the American war effort. The council recognized enough promise in the concept to continue the process. Technical experts were consulted. The design was refined. It was a methodical, professional evaluation of a revolutionary solution. The U.S. patent was granted. As electronics advanced over the following decades, history would eventually recognize their invention as a remarkable step toward the secure, wireless world we know today. So you could ask, why is Hedy Lamarr a great American? Was it because she came to America for a second chance? Was it that she became a big star? Was it wanting to help her new country in the war effort? Was it helping to invent a technology that would change the way that we communicate? Well, clearly all of those things are great, but what made Hedy a great American is that she refused to be put in a box. She refused to be underestimated. She refused to have others tell her what she could do and be limited by what others thought. When people saw only beauty, she became an inventor. When others thought the technology was impossible, she reimagined the future. When recognition never came, she kept moving forward anyway. Hedy Lamarr didn't change the world because she was a movie star. She changed the world because she believed she could contribute more than others expected. And in the end, she was right. And that belief in what others could not see made Hedy Lamarr a great American.